We begin the Quran Daf Mesechtes Bava Metzia Daf Tzaddik Ches. We begin 3 lines down at the top of the Amud, where the Gemara continues explaining the halacha of our previous daf, which we had a difficulty on Rav Nachman. This is a classic Talmudic machlokes that the Gemara has later on, Baba Kama, regarding if a guy tells someone there's $100 that I have by you, and this guy says, I don't know. Do we say that the guy who is a claimant, since he's a bari, and the defendant is a shema, so the bari is adif and he's chayiv? Or do you say that no, you can't collect out of a suffix, even though you're definite, because from our Mishnah, seemingly we see not like Rav Nachman. In our Mishnah's first case, where the mashal said to the shoyel, he says, hey, it was the shoyel. And the guy says, I don't know. He's going to be chayiv, so seemingly not like Rav Nachman. So the Gemara answered that no, we're talking about where there's an asik shvu b'neim. There's a chiv of a shvu over here that the defendant has, which he can't make because he doesn't know. Now, although generally a don't know doesn't allow you to collect, but when there's a shvu and you don't know, if you can't swear, then you got to pay. And our Gemara is going to continue explaining where's this chiv shvu that we're talking about over here, that since he cannot swear, he's going to have to pay. Throughout the entire world. Something that's discussed in today's daf, like we said, is Mana li biyadcha, and the idea, the plaintiff claims with certainty. The nitva, the defendant says, I don't know. Rabbi Huna says chayiv because bar b'shem bar adav. Nachman Yechon says yapata because ukim and mecheskes mari. You see how mitzvah mechaber olav baraya. Hashoyles apara. We said that if someone borrows a cow and shalach chatziyim v'sarcha chatziyim, he borrowed it for half the day and he rented it for half the day. V'aloyim and the ideya, and then again the defendant says I don't know, he's going to be chayiv. Rabbi says mana li biyadcha. V'haloyim ein lecha biyadi el chamishim v'ashar in the ideya. This is the principle that we're saying, that if let's say he says, well, 50, yes, I owe you. The other 50, I don't know. Now, he's chayiv shvu might have been mixed because he admitted to part. And now, usually you deny the other part. He's not denying, say, I don't know. So you can't swear that you know because you don't know. Okay, you can't swear, so then you have to pay. Some other terms and concepts in today's daf are patur shayil b'baylim. If at the time of the loan, the owner was working with a shayil, he's not liable, that's what he said. Now, the question that's brought up, as we'll see in the Midbeis, a few different types of cases are, if there was a sheila and a schiris in the same cow, the first was b'baylim and the second was not b'baylim, is this considered b'baylim or not? Do you say that it extends from what was previously? Or what happens if it goes back to the original thing of sheila? That the Gemara is going to discuss many different cases to say, would you sub the Torah sheila b'baylim or not? To begin the current daf Tzaddik Ches, 3 lines down at the top of the Amud, in the middle of discussing this halacha of the sheila b'baylim, this idea of shoyel and sechirus, where the guy is making a definite claim. This guy's saying, I don't know. So Rabbi had said that this is like manali biyadcha, and he says, I only have 50, and the rest I don't know. Of course, you can't swear, you have to pay. That's how Rabbi Nachman is going to explain the halacha of our Mishnah. Now the Gemara gets into specifics. How are you going to explain this? Says the Gemara, mishkachas law, you have this concept, what we're calling the asik shvua, that there's already an oath over here which the guy can't make because he doesn't know, as follows. Reisha bebeis, the reisha is going to be with 2 cows. The sefer begimel, the sefer is going to be with 3 cows. What does this mean? So the Gemara explains. Reisha, that the halacha was, we're coming to qualify what day it was. Remember, there's really 3 cases in our Mishnah. There was the cases of the 1 cow, either of on one day, you had part of the day was a loan, part of the day was a rental. Case number 2 was, well, there was a loan today and the rental tomorrow. We're calling that the reisha because it's 1 cow. And then the sefer is when there's actually 2 different cows. 1 cow was rented and 1 cow was loaned. So we're calling that reisha and sefer. The reisha is with 2 cows, the sefer is with 3 cows. And that's what the Gemara is explaining. The reisha, which will come in to qualify the day or the hour, so that it cannot be with 1 cow, as we read it seemingly in the Mishnah, that there's 1 cow, and we're debating the teveh and the nitva, was it during that hour or not? No, it must be talking about bebeis, with 2 cows, and they both died, and he's claiming them for both cows that died, and the defendant, the shoyel, is admitting to one of them that he owes the money. That's what's going to bring him to a situation where he's chayiv shvu for the second one. But the second one he claims, I don't know if I'm chayiv or not. But since you're moed b'miktzas and you're chayiv shvu, and now you can't swear because you don't know, that's where you're going to have to pay. That doesn't contradict Rav Nachman. Generally, with a bari b'shema, you wouldn't be bari adav. You wouldn't be able to collect. Here you're able to because you have a chiv shvua, and you can't make your shvua. You can't make your shvua, you have to pay. And that's, as the Gemara explains, the Amalei tells him, Beis Pars Masati Lach, says, I give you 2 cows. Pal Gedi Yoma B'Sheila, half the day with a loan, or Pal Gedi Yoma B'Schiris, and half the day that it was rented, or Inami, or the other case, remember we're calling the ratio the 2 cases of the first 2 cases of the Mishnah. Or let's say Chad Yom B'Shila, 1 day was a loan, Chad Yom B'Schiris, 1 day was a rental, but again, it has to be 2 cows. Although the simple reading of the Mishnah seems 1 cow, no, it's 2 cows with the same agreement. Now the claimant is saying, hey, they both died during the time of the loan. The borrower says, no, not so fast. Chad, one of them, yes, you're right. It died during the time of the loan, so he's being moida pemiktas. I owe you for one of them. But for idach, the other one, lo yadana. I don't know. Did it die when it was during the loan? Did it die during the time of the rental? He can't swear. The Mishalim he has to pay, and that's why we said both of them died, Rashi explains. Because if by the first one, it's actually still around, and he's admitting to it, but he's saying, here, take it. And
give the owner the benefit of the doubt. Because the owner doesn't know either. The owner says worry, that he knows.
Well, that's what he's saying.
It's got to be, because otherwise...
Right, the only these types of questions Taisa gets very involved with, because this is what you find in Sugi is what's called a bori toiv, a bori garua, like when you're saying definitely is something, or shema, should you know, should you not be knowing? But al kapanim, he's saying...
It's not like a 1 cow in a shaile, there was no question. But there was three shaile, the owner knows the story, but if the owner doesn't know, you cannot just give him benefit because it's got to be a much.
Right, exactly.
Where does it say Messi?
What? No, here, in the case right here, Umesu Tarvayu, it doesn't say in the Mishnah. The Mishnah doesn't even talk about 2. The Mishnah only talks about 1. The Gemara is explaining that to answer Rav Nachman, it must be talking about 2 different cows. And Rashi is just explaining the reason why we have to say both died. And why do you have to say both died? Why don't you just say that, here, one's still alive, take it? No, the reason why you can't say that is because if he said that one is around to take it and the other one he would say, I don't know if it died during the time of the loan or the time of the schiras, then the one that it'd be admitting to would be what's called halach. Halach is that, here, what I owe you is yours, take it. There's a Manda Amar that we had in the beginning of this Masechet of Daled that says, halach, you part from a shvuk, it's not really being moided. It's not like I'm admitting it's yours, it's already yours, it's not even part of the claim. So that's why you have to say both of them died. Okay, that's the case of the Reisha. The Seifa, which we said, that was the 3rd case, where he borrowed one, he rented one, and he doesn't know which one died. There you could get this concept of Asik Shavua. That's when in the beginning you had Big Gimel, you actually had 3 cows. 2 of them died. One of them he admits that was the borrowed one, so he's chayiv in the money of that one that died, which now obligates him for an oath on the second one, because that's Moed B'Miktzis, where the Amalei tells him, Gimel Paris Nasad Lach. Look, I give you 3 cows. Beis B'Shila V'Achas B'Schiris. 2 of them I lent to you, and 1 of them I rented to you. Umeisor Hanatai to the Shila. Now the owner is claiming that the 2 that were loaned are the 2 that died, which obviously that would mean he's chayiv. The borrower said, no, what I admit to you is like this. No, I know for sure you're right. One of the loaned ones died. Idach, the other one, I don't know. Lo yadana idashila mesa. Is it that there was the borrowed one that died? With the kaima the schiris and the one that's still around is the rented one? I don't know. Maybe it's the schiris mesa. Maybe the rented one died. But the kaima the one that's still around the shili is the loaned one. So I don't really know. Oh, you can't swear. Really, you're admitting to half. You're being moed b'miktzis. The guy's claiming the 2 loaned ones. You're saying, I don't know. I know for sure one of them. I don't know about the second one. Since you can't swear, therefore you're going to pay. And therefore, Rab Nachman is not refuted from our Mishnah. Although it sounds simply the way Rashi was explaining the Mishnah, it's a bari b'shem bari other case. The Gemara explains, no, there's an asik shvur b'neim, and mitik shen yichel shava is the reason why you're going to mishal. Now it gets a little bit more complicated. We're going to add on one more variable now. The Amma that he says dalet shaymrim, the 4 types of guardians for the oaths that are said regarding each one of them. For example, let's say Shem Echinam, he has to swear that it was stolen. Or Shem Esacha has to swear that it was an oinus. Or Shel has to swear that it was Meis Machmas Malacha died because of the work that's doing. The halacha is Tzrichin Kfida b'miktzas, Voidah b'miktzas. He holds every one of the Shemim from the B'chai V'Shua has to be a moedim mixes, meaning that you admit the part and you deny part of it. So obviously, from the fact, as Rashi points out, that Rambam Chama says you need a denial. It's not enough to even admit to have. You need to have a denial of part of it. He doesn't just say you need a hidah b'miktzas. So what you hear from Rambam Chama is that even though seemingly the oath of that shemer would apply even without any denial, you don't have him take the shvur shemrim, which is what we're talking about over here, until he denies something else. For example, he says lahadam, which is lahoy dvar ma'il, this never happened, or hechzarti lach, I already returned it to you. So according to him, you're not mechayev a shvua just for admission without a denial. Now the problem is saying in yedeya, I don't know, is not a denial. If that's the case, you can't have this Rava's concept of mitoich she'enich l'shava meshalim only if he told him that, look, you're right, 50 I owe you, and the other 50, part of it I'm denying, and part of it I don't know. So on that says the Gemara, Mishkachas law, you'll only have this answer for Rav Nachman of this concept of Rava, of Esek Shvur Beinehem, only by adding on another cow for each one of them. Reisha Begimel, the first two cases are with 3 cows, the Sefer B'Dalad, and the third case is with 4 cows, which, as Rashi just points out on the bottom, he says, according to Rambam Bachama, he does not understand Kihuzeh, that it's without any denial. In other words, that this is true and this was not true. That's what Kihuzeh means. But if, let's say, it says, this I owe and this I don't know if it was stolen or lost by, let's say, Shem Echinam, that would not qualify for Kihuzeh. When you have the Shvur Moedim Miktzis, has to have, you're not only admitting, you're also denying partially. So the Gemara explains, according to Rambam Bachama, how you're going to explain this answer for Rav Nachman. Reish Begimel, the Reish Begimel with 3 cows, Damalei, where he tells, the owner tells him, Gimel Pars Nasatilach, there's 3 cows that I gave you. Pal Gediyem B'Shela, or Pal Gediyem B'Schiras. That these 3 cows, half the day was alone, half the day was Schiras, or Inami, the other case of case number 2, Chad Yom B'Shela, Chad Yom B'Schiras, one day was alone and one day was a rental. Okay. And the owner's telling him, all 3 of them, they all died during the time of the loan. And the bar says, look, one of them, first of all, it never happened. He's totally denying that there was ever that 3rd cow. That's out of the question. That's a kfira. That's important because you have to have a denial. One of them, you're right, you're right, that one died during the time of the loan. That's a haidah. He's admitting. The Eidach, and the 3rd one, Lo Yadan, I don't know. I don't know if it died during the time of the loan or time of the rental. Now that he can't swear, now he has to pay, because only then that he has the halacha of Moedim Miktzis, and then you have a Yeshava, which he can't swear. That's the case of the Reisha. Sefer B'Dal, the case number 3, was with 4 cows. Damalei told him, Dalad Paras Nasatilach, there's 4 cows that I gave you. Gimel B'Shela, Chad B'Schiras. 3 were alone, and 1 was a rental. And you know which 3 died? The 3 that I loaned you are the ones that died. Shayil, the Bara says back to me, says, no. First of all, Chadal Adam. One of them, he's totally denying. There was no 4 cows, there was 3 cows. Never happened. Okay. Chadal, one of them, yes, the Shayla Mesa. That's the one that was Bar that died. So that's a Haidah. So you got the 2 things Rambam Bachama requires to have a Shvua. You have to have a Haidah and a Kfir. The Idach, now, the other one that died, there's 2 remaining animals. Le'yadana, I don't know, either Schiris Mesa, was it the rented one that died? With the Kaima, the Shalem, the one that's still around is the loaned one? Or the Shalem Mesa with the Kaima, the Schiris? Or was it the loaned one that died and the rented one is still around? Now, since he can't swear, which he's chayiv with my mixes, but he can't because he doesn't know, the shalom he has to pay, and therefore you're going to be chayiv. That's how you'll have to enter according to Rav Machama for the opinion of Rav Nachman. That concludes that part of our discussion. Now, the Mishnah said that if the owner said it was the loaned one that died, and the renter said it was the rented one that died, so he said So he said that the renter has to swear that it was the rented one that died. So the Gemara says, Vamai, why is he even swearing? Mashatanu lahaydalai. What he's claiming, the owner's claiming it was the loaned one that died. He's not admitting anything. No moed mixes of it. There's no admitting to that. Because what he's admitting to him, which is the rented one, laitanu, he's not claiming. Now Rashi points out actually Div Masla Bamai says, didn't we just explain that the Mishnah is talking about there's a kfira and there's haida? Says Rashi, no, that's only for Rav Nachman. We have to give such an answer because it was difficult on Rav Nachman. But the Mishnah according to Rabbi Huna and Rabbi Huda is simply understood. So then the question is, according to them, why are you swearing? There's no haida b'miktis over here. There's no admission at all. I'm saying it was a different animal that died. So what's he swearing for? So Ula says, Ali de Gilgul. This is through the principle of Gilgul Shvua. Once you got him on one oath, you can make him take whatever oath you want to. Which Taisa brings the source for that. The Amalei where he tells him, swear to me, whichever one. Meaning, even if it's a rented one, I can still make you swear that it's like what you're saying. And swear to me the Gedarka Mesa that it died in the normal way, and that yes, the rented one that died in the normal way, you can be pater. But amigu de mishtabeya, the Gedarka Mesa, once I could get you to swear that it died in the normal way, mishtabeya nami de schuda Mesa, I could also get you to swear that it's the rented one that dies. Which, as Rashi points out, that he doesn't hold like Rami Bachama, that requires a kfir and haida by the Shomrim, because we hold like the one who says, as brought in Bava Metzia Daf Zayin, Eruv Parshas Ksivkan. There's an intermingling of parshas. When it says Kiyuzeh, it actually belongs on a malva on the lender. And this halacha is, like we're saying through Gilgul Shvua, is biblically, because we learn it out from the Saita, as it says, V'amrisha Amen Amen. What's Amen Amen? Is that she has to say yes, yes, yes to all these different oaths. Once you get her to swear for one thing, you get her to swear for all these other things. That's why, in this case, although Mashatanu Lahaydalai, you're going to be Chayiv B'Shvua based on Gilgul Shvua. Now then the Mishnah said, another case was Ze'imer Eni Yedea B'Ze'imer B'Chulu. This guy says, I don't know, and this guy says, I don't know. So the question was, what's the halacha? So it said in the Mishnah, okay, that's going to be Cholkin. It says, Hamani, who's the Tana of our Mishnah? Some Chisidama that it says, Mam Namut B'Savik Cholkin. When you have a doubt regarding money, then you're going to divide it. Now, the Gemara now starts a whole discussion now, different questions regarding this halacha of P'tur Sheil B'Bayil. We know that if the time of the loan, the owner was working with the shell, he's not liable. So, Ba'ira Baba Bar Mamla, it says Sheil B'Bayil. If let's say someone borrowed an item with the owner working for him at that moment, okay, so he should be pater. But before he returns it, the guy says, okay, I can't lend it to you anymore, I need it. The guy says, no problem, I'm going to start paying you. Sachra, he rents it from him. Now, at the time when he rented it from him, Shaloi B'Baylam, the owner was not working for him. And then subsequently it gets stolen or lost during the days of the rental. Now, what's the halacha? What's the question? The Gemara explains. Mirman, do we say She'il L'chud D'Kaima, that look, the loan was one thing, V'schir's L'chud D'Kaima, and the rental was something different, and it's totally independent. And so even though that when he took it originally from him was with the Bailam, and he never did another Mashiach from him, still he's going to be chayiv. Because the time of the rental, when there was possession, it wasn't lacking in the Mashiach. So his chatzah requires it with the statements that they're making to make it into rental, but it's another kinyan, and that's shalei b'bailam, and the is going to be chayiv. Maybe no. Schiris b'sheila meshach shaychi. The rental still is connected somewhat to the original loan because the mechayiv b'gneva v'aveda. Every seicher that's chayiv b'gneva v'aveda, that was already on him from when he borrowed it. So you're not really adding on anything more, and it's really coming from the original Mashiach, and that was with Bailam, so maybe you should be pater. Then says the Gemara, if you're going to say, you're right. The rental that you're doing now is really still connected to the original loan that you did. So therefore, you'll be pater in that case. Then I have another case. What happens if Sachra B'Bailam? What happens if you rented it with the owner working for you, and before you returned it, then the guy says, you know what, you don't have to pay me anymore. Let's make this into a loan. Shayla, but then that was Shaloi B'Bailam. When he borrowed it from him later on, and it was still in his possession, the owner was not working for him. And then it died in the normal way. Now, this chiyuv was obviously not because of the original Mashiach that he had done, because the chiyuv Shayla that he has of Misa doesn't apply to his original schiris that he had done. So now what's the halacha? The Gemara explains the question. Do you say she'ela a loan regarding einzin? Obviously, b'schiris v'adol sheichet, that's not connected to the original schiris that you had done, and then you can be chayiv because it's now because of a new kinyan of she'ela, that's without bailam that you're cutting. The Gemara says maybe the Gemara is entertaining to say that even the sheikh b'miktas, no, there's still somewhat of a connection because the chiv of Gneva Veda that he had back then, you could still say that that was from the original Mashiach. So command the sheikh b'kuladami. So therefore, even though now you added on a she'ela now, okay, but your obligation of your Gneva Veda was there from before. And therefore, maybe you'd be part even on the Einzin, because it's like still connected to the original Schiris, which was Bavailim. And says the Gemara, maybe you're going to say, Lo Yaminan, we don't say no. You don't say keeping the Sheikha b'mixes command the Sheikha b'kuladam. You don't say, since you're somewhat connected, it's like the whole thing's connected. And then you would be chayiv, but we have the following question. What happens if, Sheila b'bailim, you borrowed with the owner, the Sachar Shloi b'bailim, and you then rented it without the bailam, and then v'chazav v'shayla. Then you went again and you borrowed it back again. Again, this was all in your possession, but shaloi b'bailam. What's the halacha? So Gemara explains the question. Do you say hadar asila shayla leduchta? Do you say that the original loan goes back to its original place? We're going to go based on the original mashiach that you had done, which was b'bailam, and that you'll be parted now when you're back to shayla again? I didn't know. If sikul aschir is beini beini, the rental which was without bailam, which was not connected to the shayla, interrupted in between. And similarly, the opposite case. Sarcha b'bailam mashallah. Let's say a guy rented it with bailam and then he borrowed it. And then he went back and he rented it again. So it was rental, loan, rental. What would you say over there? Do we say asla schir laduch? Do you say, okay, now the rental goes back to original place, which was b'bailam? I don't know. That the loan in between would interrupt. Says the Gemara, take it, let it stand. It's not clear what the halacha would be in all these cases. Thank you. Anytime. Those things.